We're going to talk while I walk today about a lesser known way that our loved ones can connect with us, and that is through other people. Not all of our thoughts are our own. Not at all. I have learned this over and over. I have a really fun example of this. My dad totally teased me while I was at the zoo this weekend with my cousin and all our kids. We were eating lunch, and we were eating lunch near the orangutan exhibit. And all of a sudden, all the orangutans just started hooting and hollering and making a bunch of noise. And we hadn't been talking about my dad at all. That's my cousin's uncle. And all of a sudden, my cousin said to me, I have a feeling that your dad would have something funny to say about this right now. And I said, what do you mean? And she goes, well, all those orangutans. And she said, he would say, Amby, I think your family's calling you. I think you better go over there. I think that they like what they see. And I started laughing so hard because that is exactly what my dad would have said in that moment. Exactly 100%. It's like funny, but not funny. And you laugh because it's so stupid, but it's kind of funny. And I would have hit his arm, and then he would have chuckled and snorted at the same time, and I would have rolled my eyes. My dad, when I was a kid, often called me a monkey, his monkey. And it's kind of a sign that in spirit, the two of us have together as well. And I said to my cousin, what made you think of that? And she said, I have no idea. I wasn't thinking about your dad. It just came to me. No, that's because my dad put that there in her head. I know it. Not all our thoughts are our own. That's just a fun example. But in another moment, this one is a little bit more astounding. One of those undeniable, no other explanation type of moments. I was on my way home from a work trip, and I was sitting at the gate at the airport, and I just closed my eyes for a minute. And I hadn't heard from my dad in a long time in meditation. And so I just sort of silently said to my heart, Dad, maybe I could hear from you. It would be nice. I haven't heard from you in a while. And I got this knowing back on the plane. So I was prepared. When I got on the plane, I had kind of my meditation music ready, the things that I need to really, create space in my heart and let go of the thoughts and the story of who we are in our mind, because we are so much more than just our identity as, Amber in this case, and all the things that comes with. So I had my meditation ready. I was all ready. And this man who was sitting next to me just starts talking to me constantly, asking me all kinds of questions. And it's pretty rare nowadays. People on the planes, they all put their headphones in. We don't get that a whole lot anymore. And he noticed a picture on my phone, a screenshot of my dad and I. No one on a plane has ever asked about it. And he asked, oh, that must be your dad. And so I said, yeah. And I told him a little bit about, that I've always just had this on my phone since he died. And he said to me, kind of funny how that goes, huh? And I said, yeah, it is kind of funny. And he's talking to me more just about his life and what he does, and how he wished in life he would have studied more about consciousness and neuroscience instead of the field that he's in, which I thought was so interesting as I was sitting there kind of chatting with him. And then he says, for some reason, I just feel I should show this to you. He says, oh, my daughters would hate that I'm doing this. And he pulls out a card. And it's a card that one of his daughters gave him. And he shared it with me and shared what she wrote. It's just really nice words. And, the words about kind of as a dad being imperfect and that being okay because she still loves him so much. And I always say to my dad, now in spirit, he was perfectly imperfect. And at his death, all of those imperfections just kind of didn't matter anymore. And it's a phrase that I've used and has stuck with me for a very long time. Even his diamond ring that I have, and I turned it into a custom ring, the jeweler tried to talk me into recutting the diamond and changing it so that it would take out this huge crack that was in the diamond from when my dad accidentally hit it on something. And I said, no, I don't want to change it at all. That crack so much represents who he is, and just being perfectly imperfect. I don't want to change the diamond to make it look more perfect. And I kept it that way. Well, this man and I continued to talk, and here's the amazing part. When we landed and I stood up to get off the plane, he looked at me and he said, "See you later, alligator." And my jaw dropped open, because that's something that my dad said to me. He would say that to me when we left the house. He would say that to my son, his grandson, when we left. "See you later, alligator." I almost couldn't believe it. It's just such an odd thing to say to another adult on the plane. But, I've learned not all our thoughts are our own. And your loved ones can connect with you sometimes through other people, through who they present to you in your life, to things that they might say, even maybe how they look. Maybe it just reminds you so much of your loved one. And that might be their way of, bringing you two together in that space, just to create that love in the heart. Because we all have that. We get that burst of love when we have those moments when we're so reminded of our loved one. And that's where our loved ones are. They're in that burst of love, that burst of joy, that burst of gratitude, that burst of just heartfelt connection. Love never dies, and our loved ones are never gone.